Hey, what's up, guys? Josh Clove from the Cleveland Podcast here. And if you guys read the title, yes, I'm going to be talking about the Miami Dolphins and where they're standing. They're staying at in the 2019 season. Um, it could go either way for the Miami Dolphins at this point. I've been saying, I've been commenting on a lot of things. I probably haven't said it on a video yet, but I think the Dolphins are a dark horse team coming into the 2019 season. So let's just get right into it. I'm gonna knock down on the schedule first. I mean, all of you guys have seen the schedule. It's a pretty brutal stretch in the beginning of the season, but it does lighten up at the end. Um, a lot of away games at the end, but northern teams. But I have faith that the Dolphins could probably pull off wins like against the Jets and the Giants. So, in my opinion, if the Dolphins start the season 2-2, I think there's smooth sailing for them for the rest of the season. The one thing I do have a problem with is the bye. The bye is a little early than it should have been. It's only at week 5, although it does come in at a good point after getting beat up on 4 playoff teams from last year. We start the season with the Ravens, Patriots, Cowboys, and Chargers. The good news is 3 of those games are home. The Cowboys game is the only one away. And like I said, if the Dolphins can go 2-2 in that stretch, I think it's smooth sailing. In my opinion, the Dolphins are a 7-9 team to 11-5 team with the talent they have, which I'll go into a little bit later. But the win, there's a lot of games that are winnable for the Dolphins. The Redskins, they have no quarterback. I mean, Dwayne Haskins could be a threat, although I don't know if they're going to start him by week 6. They might be riding on Case Keenum for a while. The Bills should be easy. The coaching staff's pretty bad. I know they're beefing up the team a little bit, but as long as we don't do what Josh Allen did last year against us, we should be smooth sailing. Jets should be easy. The Eagles should be easy. I mean, Carson Wentz has not looked like himself ever since his first injury, and after his second injury, they don't have a backup quarterback really to propel them. Definitely that late of the season where Carson Wentz does start getting injured. So the Giants should be an easy win. The Bengals should definitely be an easy win. I mean, they're like a 9-win team, but we should have beat them last year. Than the fact that Tannehill choked, and some of the teams we're gonna lose. The Patriots. Week 17 up in New England. That's probably gonna be a loss. I don't see us winning that one. The Browns are probably gonna be a loss. It's a away game. Um, I think the Steelers are going to be lost at the Monday Night Football game. Steelers are still, you know, a contending team. And then, like I said, in that first bit, the 2-2, lose 2 games, win 2 games. That's where we stand. I think that the Dolphins could go 10-6. It is very potential. 10-6. It will be hard earned 10-6, but 10-6 can be like I said, possible. 9-7 if that's a wild card spot. But I've been saying it time and time. The Dolphins are not going to tank, and I think with the fact that we do got Josh Rosen now, when we traded for him, if the Josh Rosen does pan out, we don't have to tank for Tua and any of that any of that sort of nature. So, Brian Flores already said we're not going to tank. So this is definitely, we're going to be 500 around there, most definitely. The only question is when Josh Rosen's going to play. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to play in the first 4 games against those heavy teams. Ryan Fitzpatrick's known playing very well in the beginning of the season. Might ride off of that, and then after the bye, we're going to start seeing him decline. That's when you put Josh Rosen in. Easier schedule. But moving on to the players. Why do I think where they stand at right now? I think last year the Dolphins had more talent on the team than they do this year. I believe the Dolphins were a playoff team last year, other than the fact about Ryan Tannehill. I think Ryan Tannehill had choked and gave up games that we should have won, like the Colts and the Bengals. And then his injury, missing 5-6 games, or however he missed, did hurt too, because Brock Osweiler is not ideal quarterback for a backup. I mean, he had that good game against the Bears, that got us that weird win, but I think that the only problem was quarterback for us last year. And this year, I would say it's an upgrade, although you're going to have to work with, Josh Rosen. Tannehill is probably better than Josh Rosen at this point in the career. As Josh Rosen's only played one season. Tannehill, 8, 7 seasons so far. Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's great and all, but he does flop after a couple of games. So some of these top players that we have, Kiko Alonso, he's going to be a top 5, in tackles. He's going to get a couple interceptions, forced fumbles. Although he's going to be on the age of decline. His age is hitting up to him. Saw last year and probably 2 years ago, his speed's going down. So if he has to go against a speedy guy, he's going to get beat. Kalen Ballage has the potential, and we saw a couple of his highlights last year. Definitely the one against the Vikings. We had that big 75-yard touchdown. He has potential to be a faster version of Jay Ajayi. He just needs to put up the work for it. And I think Brian Flores is going to utilize him. I think we have a great 1-2 package on the running back. Kenyon Drake, the small slinky guy that can catch out, speedy, and then you got the train, the bulldozer of Kalen Ballage. That is a perfect 1-2 punch for a running back. I think every team should have that, and we do have that. And going next is Kenyon Drake. Kenyon Drake should be a star player for one of two reasons. He's the main running back. It's time for him to break out. And two, he's on a contract year, meaning he wants to make money, so he's gonna have to prove. As of right now, he only has like 1,300 rushing yards, only 9 rushing yards, rushing touchdowns. I don't know what he's at on the receiving end. I didn't look at that. So he's in the middle line of he could be a starting top 10 running back in the league, but also he's got some work to do. Luckily, we're switching the coaching staff where Adam Gase didn't like running the football, which is retarded, but it is what it is to Brian Flores, who's been with the Patriots for 14 years. He's has the mind of Bill Belichick. He's been working with him for 14 years. So we're going to see a whole different type of scheme on the offensive and defensive standpoints. Moving on, Micah Fitzpatrick, we have him. He had a good rookie year. I think he's going to take off more. He's not going to be a starter. We still have Rashad Jones and T.J. McDonald, which I'll go on to that a little bit later. But he's definitely a good guy to put in for the nickel or dime sets. They threw him in for the nickel cornerback. I think he played really well, but when he played starting quarterback, he struggled, and when he was starting safety, he did kind of struggle too. So he's still good as a backup, or that third string, fourth string wide receiver when they do in the passing situations. He's pretty good at that. But like I said, Brian Flores is definitely going to work with him. We got a very good coaching staff. Xavier Howard, we saw what he did last year, 7 interceptions in 13 games. He's on a contract year too, so he's going to play hard, do the best he can. I can see him making 5 interceptions this year. And with Rashad Jones and T.J. McDonald, the next 2 guys on my list as top players, we have a very nice core of the back 4. Plus bringing in Eric Rowe. I think Eric Rowe played phenomenal with the Patriots on still being with the Brian Flores. He knows the system already. I think this is the strength of the Dolphins coming into the season is the back 4. You're not going to see hopefully not a lot of big plays, a lot of turnovers. Dolphins were like top 5 in turnovers for the longest time last year until near the end when everything started to crumble, but the potential is there. Josh Rosen, another guy who has the potential. He is a wild card right now where we don't know what we're going to get from him. All I know is he's on a cheap deal, $2 million a year. He has 1 year of experience, but he's definitely in a better coaching staff and situation than he was last year with the Cardinals. All those people are gone, where all these people are new for us, but they're just they're seniors. They're more. A lot of these guys have Super Bowl rings and been in the playoff teams, have been with great coaches. So this is really big for Josh Rosen. He is in a very good situation and a very good place to be. and a career-wise, a guy who's getting his second chance. Kenny Stills is our top wide receiver, although I like all our wide receivers: Albert Wilson, Jakeem Grant, Bryce Butler, Isaiah Ford. I think Isaiah Ford could potentially be a good wide receiver. He just has to get healthy and get into the lineup, I guess, and then get onto the 53-man roster and play. He had a good preseason last year, so hopefully he can put in the work and maybe be the fifth or sixth wide receiver in the depth chart. But Kenny Stills is our number one wide receiver. He is the biggest deep threat we have. He has the speed, the size, the height, all that. Josh Rosen can throw the bomb. It is very slept on, but he can. The only problem is, can the Dolphins' offensive line, can hold up? Which goes on to Laremy Tunsil is another top player. He's also on a contract year. We got three big guys on a contract year. I know we got more, but those are the three guys I know on the top of my head as of right now. They're on contract years. I think he didn't allow any sacks last year. If it did, it was near the end where it was like 1 or 2 sacks. But he is probably one of the best offensive linemen and upcoming young offensive linemen in the game. Definitely in his position. He should have earned a Pro Bowl nod and maybe All Pro. He should have gotten All Pro, but he is a very good offensive line. We got really lucky with him, but watch him, just do the same thing he did last year. I don't think he's going to decline. I mean, he's entering his prime. He's only like 25, 26 years old. So he's going to get that big contract. The Dolphins are going to have about $100 million in cap space. Definitely with the fact that we're not paying any money for our quarterback with Josh Rosen, so we can probably bring in this more skilled players next year, beefing up the offensive linemen. Probably get pass rusher and a nice linebacker. So next season, maybe this season too. I wouldn't be surprised if Brian Flores kind of surprises us with a surprise trade, getting a nice, maybe not an all pro player, but maybe a Pro Bowl player or like borderline Pro Bowl, like has the potential to be, but he makes an impact for the team. And the last person I have as the top player is Albert Wilson. You can say Jakeem Grant too, but Albert Wilson is just slightly better than Jakeem Grant. He has the speed, he has the agility, the elusiveness. He's a great wide receiver. He is coming from a hip injury, but I think that the potential there for him to have 1,000 yards and maybe 10 touchdowns. But he has to play all 16 games or 14 to 16 games. But the potential is there for Albert Wilson, and that's kind of where the Dolphins are standing at. The 2019 season. The talent's there. I think the Dolphins had more talent last year than they are this year, but with the different coaching scheme, I think that the Dolphins can prevail, push into that playoff spot. 9-7, 10-6. Like with the schedule, like I said, brutal start. Actually really 5 straight if you count the Redskins with the bye. But if the Dolphins can prevail, go 2-2 in that first 4 games, I think the Dolphins can be somewhat smooth sailing. A lot of those next hard teams, they're spaced out. Like you have the Steelers in week 9, Colts at week 11, Browns 13, and Patriots week 17. So they're spaced out. They're not all back to back, and then a lot of home game or a lot of away games. Ending the season. But I think the Dolphins could be. I think they got it. I think trust in Brian Flores. And we just wish for the best for the Dolphins. We're stacked for the draft next year. All we gotta do is win this year. We're in the prime place to take over this division once Brady and Belichick leaves. So that's what Brian Flores is building on. So that's where the Dolphins stand. Comment below how you feel about the Dolphins this year. Where you think they're going to be at if you guys are still watching. Where they're going to be at. 7 wins, 9 wins, 4 wins, 12 wins, 16-0, 0-16. Whatever you guys want to, what's your opinions? Let me know below. Make sure you like and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys hopefully Thursday on our podcast. So have a great day, and thank you guys for watching.